Welcome back, everyone, to the Comic Blast podcast. This is part 3 of our series leading up to Spider-Man Miles Morales and our general discussion on all things about PS4 and leading up to the game. This episode is specifically going to be talking about, well, the hype of Spider-Man Miles Morales and our expectations for it. I'm Grayson, one of your hosts, and with me is Keenan.
It's Keenan.
Hello.
Dude, Spider-Man Miles Morales comes out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Did that confuse
not when
you?
we're recording this, but also like I wish that
pretend.
was true. When you're listening to this, it will be tomorrow, and I will be playing a lot of it.
Dude. Just take a second to breathe. Okay. We're going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay, man. Dude, the greatest day of your life.
It's tomorrow.
Until you beat the game and you have to wait for Spider-Man 2.
That's okay. I mean, like, I'm kind of factoring the fact that I've played Spider-Man PS4 at least 15 times now. So let's say I can kind of, this game's shorter. I could probably get through this one a couple more times, maybe 20 times.
It says, so from what I've understood, the embargo has lifted for the game for reviews.
Yeah.
So reviews are out. They are phenomenal. Not surprised.
No, I watched Caboose's review.
Oh, really?
It's the only one I've watched. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's
Shout
actually
out
already
Caboose.
100% of the game. So I texted him. I was like, "Hey, yeah, you got Miles Morales?" And he's like, "Yeah, I 100%ed it." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." One thing that he told me, just kind of sidetracking here, but has to do with it. So I asked him how many alternate suits are in the game. He said there are 19 alternate suits, which is way more than I expected there to be.
Really?
Like, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I thought there would maybe be like 10, you know? That'd be like the main suit and then like 10 other ones. 19 is a good amount.
And probably like 3 or 4 of them are good ones.
All of the ones I've seen so far have been pretty awesome. Like
Spider-Man PS4 had like 40-something suits. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, by the time like all the DLC and stuff came out, yeah, there was a stupid amount of suits. And I'm not going to lie, like, the more that I used the ones that sucked, the more I was like, I actually don't like these. I mean, I like these. Like, I don't mind them. Like, even the ones, like, there's the blue one with, like, the metal kind of, like, knurled grip on the arms that has, like, those metal cuff things. I was like, it's, like, neon blue.
Oh, yeah. It's a little
that
shiny.
one, I was like, this is such a weird suit. I'm never using that. And then I remember using it, and I'm like, this ain't half bad.
Dude, like, so when Spider-Man PS4 came out, I was, like, flipping through so many suits. And honestly, it took so long for me to fall in love with the advanced suit because I just didn't like it for the longest time.
And then I love it now.
Yeah, it's my favorite suit, like Spider-Man suit.
It's amazing.
Blows my mind that I was able to like flip 180 on that because I was like, I think I was using the Stark suit for so long. And then I switched over to the advanced suit. That's besides the point. We got Spider-Man Miles Morales coming out this week. So freaking hyped for it. I think you were going to get around to the whole point that the game was like 8 to 11 hours or so.
Yeah, I've heard 7 to 10, 8 to 11, roughly around
Kinda
there.
Short. Not surprising.
Short because obviously this is not a full price game. I think it's sitting around like $40 or $50.
50. Yeah.
But also I've heard that like it is a really good 7 to 10 hours. Like it feels like it should be a full price game, even for it being shorter.
You would say that Spider-Man PS4 story wise, not with all the side missions and everything, what would you say that's about? Like 15 hours? I fly through that game. I really fly through that game, the story. If I'm not doing side missions, I fly through that game. And I've played it so many times. Honestly, it might be shorter than 15 hours if you're just focusing on the main story and not doing all the side missions and crimes and everything. I've completely skipped over that at this point. So, like, I'm seeing a lot of criticism of the actual playtime on the game, which surprises me to begin with because they said from the get-go that it's not meant to be a sequel to the first Spider-Man game. It's more of just a short spin-off, an introductory to Miles' story, really. So I don't understand the criticism regarding that, but if we're really looking at it, I've heard that with this game, they're not doing like any side missions where you're playing as, like, for example, MJ or, you know, a powerless Miles and stuff like that. Those missions.
Thank God.
Think about how much time those missions took up. I think there was 3 of them with MJ and 2 with Miles. You're cutting a lot of time by cutting those out to begin with. So let's say you cut those out of Spider-Man PS4, you're probably down to like 13 hours of actual like gameplay. So it's not that big of a difference. And you're, like you said, it's not a full price game. So people just need to stop complaining. You're getting less filler. You're getting more of impactful story.
I'll take Spider-Man PS4 where I don't have to play as the like regular people and sneak around and stuff. If you wanted to scare me about like going to hell or something, it'd just tell me that I had to play only the MJ missions for the entirety of my experience in hell. They strap me to a PS4 and they're like, just play these missions
the
over
Norman
and over.
Osborn
No!
Dude, that Norman Osborn penthouse mission, it's awful. It's so painful to get through.
I remember just being like, I just want to play Spider-Man.
Dude, you've only played it one time through. I've played it like 15 times through. It's so painful, but I've played it so many times that I know exactly where I need to go in terms of stealth that I'm just like, I'm flying through it, but it's still so painful to get through. But you got to think they're going to be cutting all of that out as well as like the mini games and puzzles and stuff like that took up so much time. I'm assuming they're going to cut that out for this Miles game, so people just need to get excited.
There's a mini game where I can make my own songs.
That'd be cool. I'd be down for that.
I doubt they'll do it.
Miles just pulls up GarageBand or Fruit Loops. Is it Fruit Loops? Fruity Loops?
I don't know. It would be pretty cool if he also just like pulled up to a karaoke place and you just like started singing karaoke as Spider-Man.
Be dope, man.
Miles is like, day and night.
Oh my
God.
God.
Only stoner sees the free his mind at night. I don't smoke weed, I'm Spider-Man.
He's just humming into the microphone, Kid Cudi style. So maybe we could talk about some things that we're like excited for. What are some suits that you're excited to try out?
Dude. Okay, so I know it's kind of full context, I'm a huge fan of the genre of cyberpunk, which is also why I'm excited for the game of cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you know us, we love neon and all of that kind of stuff. Blade Runner 2049 is one of my favorite movies of all time. Probably tied with some of my favorites for number 1. So I love that whole aesthetic. So this suit where he has the headphones built into his mask and like these like pixelated eyes that's almost like Daft Punk style. That suit, I may never take it off because that suit is so cool.
Dude, the photo mode with that suit.
So that's going to be great too because photo mode is getting expanded to where they're going to have like different lighting sources and stuff like that.
It looks so good.
And yes, as both of us being photo mode connoisseurs, I'm so excited. I also think this game is going to be perfect for that whole picture thing that I do, which I've kind of taken a break from because I started kind of losing creativity. It got really, really hard to start taking photos. And now that I'm getting this new photo mode with a game where Miles is like I will definitely be making a series of like Miles inspired songs and stuff and you can pose them and everything like it's gonna be real good.
Day and night. This got to be the first song you use when you post a photo.
It has to be that way now. And I can't believe I've never done that song before in Spider-Man PS4 because I've done some some Kid Cudi songs and stuff. But it's gonna be pretty cool with Miles. What about you? What suit are you most excited for?
I have a feeling that I'm going to eventually fall in love with the tracksuit. I think that's going to be
the mostly white one.
The mostly white one. It's got like a mix of the white with the classic suit.
The top. Yes.
Yeah.
It's clean.
At first, I thought I was just gonna roll with the classic suit.
It looks good.
But after watching like mini game play clips, that tracksuit I think is gonna grow on me the same way the advanced suit did. Something about the white.
Yeah, I do like the white. I can't not acknowledge though. I don't think we both get the actual Spider-Verse suit.
Yeah, we got
Dude.
I'm not going to play that.
They outdid themselves.
It's not going to be my main suit for story. I'm
No.
weird. Yeah, I'm very weird. Like you were talking about, like that cyberpunk looking suit. I love the look of that suit, and I think it's going to be great for photo mode. But that isn't a suit that I'm going to touch probably until after I complete the game, and I can do like swinging around at nighttime and like photo mode and stuff like that. But I want my cutscenes to be, my main suit, whatever it's going to be for that game.
Yeah. So, I agree. I played the entirety of PS4 with the advanced suit, especially in cutscenes. Yeah. But anytime I would be for your own one, be like, I'm going to put on the bulletproof suit or the spider armor, or I'm going to put on the homemade suit, just to like chill out and do some crimes and stuff. But as soon as I would go back to doing the main story, it would be the advanced suit. Or any type of like realistic looking suit, really. Like I think there was a couple of times I would use I think it was like the suit that Black Cat gives you in the PS4 game, which is the black and red. The red.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was really cool. I remember going through the entirety of the DLCs with Spider Armor. The Iron Spider.
Oh yeah. Well, that's a gorgeous
which is
suit.
one of my it's so good. Insomniac does this great thing with their suits where they add these little details with like the textures and lines and like symmetrical stuff to make it where like they really feel distinct. It's not just like spandex.
Yeah.
And I love that. So I'm excited to see what they do with the Miles suit, but considering there's 19, and I don't know how many I've seen thus far. I've seen quite a bit.
Me too.
But there's some really cool ones, and they all fit with Miles' style. One thing I want to hop into is kind of like what characters, maybe more specifically villains, are you most excited for the game? Because we've kind of gotten a little bit more teases with that. You've been watching more clips than I have.
Yeah.
I'm probably more in the dark about it, but there was a picture dropped of Prowler.
Yeah. Which
I was like, honestly wasn't expecting. Like, I know it's kind of a given, but I was like, they're not going to put Prowler right off the bat.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, relationship-wise, I definitely want to see, like, Rio and Miles interact, and Genki Lee,
she wasn't
his best
in
friend.
PS4 so much.
Yeah. Genki Lee, apparently he's going to be developing an app for Miles to use in the game where where, like, people in Harlem or New York can actually report crimes through this app, and Miles can, like,
I can see it.
You can go through your missions basically, and they're like reported crimes.
You mean Ned from Spider-Man Homecoming?
Yeah. Basically. But I think that he's going to play a pretty big role in the story, or just helping out Miles in general in terms of relationships. Really looking forward to that. But in terms of villains, I am excited for Prowler, and I did see. I don't really want to get into this actually because it might be spoiler territory. I'm excited for Prowler. I'll say that, and I think that there's going to be some sort of relationship between him and Aaron Davis. So I'm looking forward to seeing that kind of fleshed out. My hope is that there is going to be like an actual big bad guy, because I don't see the Prowler being the actual big main villain of the story. They wouldn't
so
reveal
far
that.
We've seen that it's like the Tinkerer or something.
Yeah, Tinkerer, Prowler. We got a little bit of Rhino in there.
I think it's going to be a trend where they're going to kind of sideswipe us, and there's going to be a bigger villain kind of,
I hope,
revealed or running it all, or like, man, I don't know.
I don't know if I want to make this prediction on the podcast. This might sound stupid to you.
Okay.
What if it's,
just go for it.
What if it's the Vulture?
That's very interesting you say that, because I thought the same thing.
Okay. So I'm thinking there might be some parallel between Vulture is like famously known as like one of Pete's first main villains. How interesting would it be if there was like a parallel between there where Miles ends up having to take on the Vulture while Pete's no longer there, and maybe it's his like first villain as well.
That's kind of what I thought. I thought either Vulture or Electro. because
Electro would be cool because they have like similar powers.
They both have lightning.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, how do you like his lightning is useless.
Oh,
against,
yeah.
Like, I think it would be cool to have Miles have this dynamic with one of Pete's villains, which, granted, we've seen that with Rhino, which
but that's like a
team
up thing, you know?
Yeah, right.
Which, by the way, I don't know if you've seen the chase yet.
No.
Okay, I won't say anything, but people listening have seen that chase scene. It's freaking amazing. So ready.
Yeah, I've heard great things. It's definitely there's going to be no symbiotes in the game or anything like that. I am ready to see some sort of goblin character, but I don't think any of them exist. Definitely not Green Goblin.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see like Hobgoblin or something. But I doubt that's going to happen. I would also love to like Shocker just be like this just joke of a character.
What's going on with Shocker, man? He's just like, he's such a strange character in this universe where he's just popping in and out.
Yeah.
And you still don't really
in this game?
Nah, he's not. As far as I know, he's not in this game. I think like Tinkerer, there's going to be obviously it's Prowler. I'm just so surprised that they revealed that so early. But at the same time, it's like one of those characters where you're like, he's going to pop up, so why not reveal him? But I feel like there's got to be somebody that's kind of like running the show.
You know who I want it to be? Just so I can punch her in the face? Screwball.
Oh my gosh. Could you imagine?
I hate her. I hate Screwball so much. If Miles Morales like could beat up Screwball, I'd be so happy because my God.
I'm a big defender of Insomniac, but the Screwball missions are unforgivable.
I feel like he comes up to Peter's like, "Hey Pete, I beat Screwball to a bloody pulp." He's like, "Thank you." You did what I could not.
Yeah, basically.
One thing I want to talk about, and this is kind of, we're going to see this in Miles Morales, I guess both on the PS4 and PS5 version, I'm assuming. I doubt they're going to keep it in continuity on one console and not on the other.
Yeah.
But, we talked a little bit about the face of Peter Parker, and we're getting that in Miles Morales. How are we feeling about that right now? That is a part of the game and part of the future of Spider-Man in this universe. We've had some thoughts about it. But
it's funny.
What's your thoughts now?
What's so funny is that we hated this like from the get-go when it happened. We have a Discord for our podcast, but we also have a Discord for our patrons if you want to join that. It's pretty fun over there. Mm-hmm. But we have one exclusively to just all of our members on the podcast, and we talk so much crap about the recasting for so long, how much we hated it. And then these new images came out in a clip from the actual Miles Morales game, so it isn't from the remastered version of PS4, it's from Miles Morales. And it came out, and I didn't really want to say anything because I'm like, I don't want to say that I don't hate it. Yeah. But at the same time, I don't hate it, and I was worried to like mention it to you, Grayson.
It was the same
and then eventually you were like, "Yeah, it's starting to grow on me too," and I felt a lot better. The thing is, like, we both can agree that the actual model looks great. It looks fantastic, and we both
the actual actor.
We both have said that if they started with this, it'd be no problem. The problem is when you watch the clip of him talking, it's just weird. Because you don't connect that face with that voice yet.
You're unused to it.
Yeah, it's very strange because when I look at that face, I expect like a higher pitched voice, and Yuri's version of Spider-Man is a little bit lower, in terms of his voice pitch, and that's what's really tough to get used to. But overall, I think it's going to grow on me the more that I look at it and the more that I watch it, and it looks good.
Yeah, I think when he's talking to Miles on that rooftop and kind of telling him to swear to the oath, I think they've made him look a little bit older. Maybe it's just the lighting, but his head looks a lot better on the body of Spider-Man because it's like, oh, he looks older. Like, he looks a bit more like a man, but when he's in his just Peter Parker clothes, he's like,
oh boy.
Like, he's just kind of like a baby, and you're like, you could compare him to like Miles, and you're like, that's weird.
You know what's going to make or break it for me? It's going to be that final scene with Aunt May in the remastered version. that's going to make or break it for me. If I can buy it with the emotion and the voice acting, like if I could see the emotion on his face as well as the voice acting kind of like coming together, I think that's going to really help me out with just like accepting it.
Yeah. Or with his fight with Otto.
Yeah, it's a big one too.
Which is another really emotional part, like when he finally beats Otto and he's like breaking down into tears. Yeah,
great moment.
That's going to be a big thing for me as well. But this is kind of an expectation as well. You don't think Peter's going to like die in this game?
Absolutely not. There's no chance. I think he's going to be MIA for the most part.
Yeah, I think he'll come back at the end. I think he'll be there in the beginning. He'll come back at the end just to kind of like, but he won't be there throughout the main, like the majority of the game. I've seen people be like, wow, they really spoiled that Spider-Man died, because there's like a mural of Spider-Man when Miles is fighting those guys in that cinematic, and I'm like, that means nothing. Like, he's been the hero of New York for 8 years. You don't think somebody's gonna paint a mural of Spider-Man? It doesn't mean he's dead.
Yeah, I think it's the same mural that's at the very beginning of the game. And there's a clip going around online where Miles walks by that mural, and he says something along the lines, "Are you going to add the new Spider-Man 2 or something like that?"
Yeah.
It's a mural. It's Spider-Man in New York. He's not going to die. There's going to be a sequel to this game, and they conveniently set up him going to Symkaria with MJ in the DLC for the original game. So...
Is that where he's going in this game?
Yeah, he's going to Symkaria with MJ, which we predicted on the podcast months ago.
Did we?
I know I brought it up.
I remember that, but I was like, did we predict that? Yeah, I remember thinking that.
Yeah, as soon as the announcement for Miles Morales came out, we were like, well, what's Peter going to be doing? And I was like, well, they did mention he wanted to go to Symkaria with MJ in the Silver Linings DLC. Overall, I mean, like, I'm just really excited to see Miles kind of out on his own, being the only Spider-Man. There's a lot of really cool new additions to this game. I read somewhere, it might have been like Game Informer, but you know, in the original game, Spider-Man PS4, there wasn't that many air tricks in the actual game. And the air tricks were actually something that was like a very, very late addition before launch, which there's like 4 of them that you can choose from, maybe less.
It's like forwards, backwards, to the side, and then like you can somewhat roll.
Yeah, roll around. So they kind of picked off where they left off with that game for Miles. There's so many cool air tricks that I'm seeing now.
Really? And which makes sense with Miles too, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, there's the one where he's kind of like, he launches backwards and then kind of puts his hands behind his head as he's falling. Yeah. And then just like smoothly transitions into a perfect swing. God, this game's going to be so good. I'm hoping.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait to web swing. That's one thing that I love, is just seeing the new animations and everything.
We're going to be playing on PS4. And it seems, I sent you a picture of like the comparison between PS4 and PS5, and there isn't a huge difference in graphics.
You can see some differences, but it's nothing like...
It's mostly lighting. Like, that's the big difference that I see. But if you're looking at, like, if you're watching gameplay, the comparisons between the two, you're like, geez, like, the ray tracing, big deal.
The fidelity and all of that.
Yeah. The reflections, it's a real thing. Like, it looks beautiful. But also the 60 frames per second looks so smooth. I would love to be able to do that. Hopefully one day I'll get a PS5 soonish and be able to actually experience it.
Dude, imagine if remember like when we were worried, like, oh, okay, this game may not come out on PS4, and I was like losing my mind. Dude, can we just thank God for Insomniac for putting it on PS4? Because like, dude, I would be screwed.
If it didn't, we would be like putting money together, both of us, to get one PS4.
We would have saved up for a PS5 for us to both just like, and I'd let Keenan play first, obviously.
Oh man, I'll take turns.
And then he would bring it over to my place, and he could watch me play. And then when he would get mad at me for doing something wrong, he'd take the controller from me. And just kidding.
Mom said it's my turn to play.
Just imagine you standing at my doorway. No, he pulls up in my driveway, knocks on the door. Mom says it's my turn to play.
Yeah, basically.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for our kind of excitement and stuff for Miles Morales. Needless to say, we're both very excited. Comes out tomorrow. If you're listening to this the day it releases, and we will be playing the crap out of it. We were going to try to beat it the day it comes out.
Oh, I will.
So we can do it. I know you will. I'm going to try my best so that way we can do an episode as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And get a proper review out for you guys. Talk about the plot, talk about the gameplay, all of the stuff with it. Thank you guys all for listening. If you didn't listen to the previous 2 mini episodes, go check those out. We had a lot of fun with those as well. You can follow me at Straights38 on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow Keenan at Keenan Creates on both of those places. Also, you can follow both of us and the whole podcast at comicblast_ on Twitter and Instagram. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/comicblast. We have a full list of patrons. We've got Jess, who is our sponsor and also one of our co-hosts. So go send her some love. We also have Jake, Caleb, Sam, Diego, Joseph, Jacob, and I'm missing one. I missed one.
I don't think you did.
Sam. Did I? Oh, maybe because it was Jess,
Yeah.
right? Jess. Yeah. Okay. So that should add up to 7. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. If you are interested in help supporting us, go check it out on patreon.com/comicblast. As little as $1 a month, and it helps support us in a small but very impactful way. Listen, man, I'm all out of quotes. But I'm just really hyped for that cat. So, Shazam!
I'm just really hyped for that cat.